Bringing sense to the issue for better discussion. Seku Sherry coming to talk.
Seku Sherry say,
Liberia, listen to the voice of Liberia. It is time to talk. Bringing sense to the issue for better discussion. Seku Sherry coming to talk. Liberia, listen to the voice of Liberia. It is time to talk. Bringing sense to the issue for better discussion. Seku Sherry coming to talk.
Seku Sherry say,
Liberia, listen to the voice of Liberia. It is time to talk. Bringing sense to the issue for better discussion. Seku Sherry coming to talk. Liberia, listen to the voice of Liberia. It is time to talk. Bringing sense to the issue for better discussion. Seku Sherry coming to talk.
Seku Sherry say,
Liberia, listen to the voice of Liberia. It is time to talk. Bringing sense to the issue for better discussion. Seku Sherry coming to talk. Liberia, listen to the voice of Liberia. It is time to talk. Bringing sense to the issue for better discussion. Seku Sherry coming to talk.
Seku Sherry say,
Liberia, listen to the voice of Liberia. It is time to talk. Bringing sense to the issue for better discussion. Seku Sherry coming to talk. Liberia, Seku Sherry coming to talk. Information and education. Seku Sherry coming to talk. Liberia, Seku Sherry coming to talk.
You need to say thank you to God Almighty for making you to see the next day in life.
Seku Sherry say,
There are many others that wanted to be where you are today. For some other reasons, best known to Allah, they are no longer where they are. So waking up in the morning, moving through the entire day, you need to say thank you to God Almighty. Because you never know where problems are coming from, where temptations could come on your head and ruin your entire activities for a day. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the program Issues of Today here at Voice of Liberia 104.1. It feels good to be here this evening, sitting in the presenter seat, taking you up to later on tonight on the program Issues of Today 104.1 Voice of Liberia. So wherever you are listening to us tonight, I want to say good evening and welcome in Liberia. For those of you out of Liberia, I want to say hello to you, whatsoever it may be at about this time you've joined us. I want to say hello to you and welcome to the show. And yes, indeed, today's edition of the program promises to be great, fascinating, interesting, by the way. And we've got so many interesting issues that we're going to take up some time to talk about, and also, look at some other, critical national issues in country. Welcome, folks. We converge again Usually at about this time, we all converge to talk about all of the issues that matter, ranging from politics, looking at some other issues. And this is just the platform that we all converge to talk about them. So, for those of you watching, it is something that I think we need to be very constant on for those of our viewers to just acknowledge them, taking up that time to watch the show, to follow what we do here. It is something that we need to really, really acknowledge because these things, they're very important, by the way. So, good evening, folks. Like I said, let me just give you a lineup of what you're going to be doing. We're going to have our international update at 6:30 Liberia time. It could be somehow different in some other countries. So we'll go to our international correspondents to speak with them. We go to our international correspondents to speak with them tonight to know the issues making news around. Following that issue, we will move on. At 7 o'clock, we're going to have a very important discussion. Mind you, the United States Department report on Liberia is out. Some will see it and say it is. There are some good things in it. Some will say to you that it is not really favorable, and you have, diverse, views and how people see things. So we've invited some of the good brains of our country, and they're going to be here tonight. We've invited someone from Unity Party. We've invited someone from the government. And also, we've invited Mr. Abdullah Katamba, who's an activist, and also he's going to be providing, he has a very strong, analytical skills in analyzing issues. So he's going to be with us tonight as well. Minister Ishaq Sharif from the government will join us as well. So we're going to have a full team here. We'll look at the performance of the government from 2018 to present, and then moving on, we'll look at the U.S. State Department report and some other issues we'll be dipping into. In mind you, the government has pillars on the whole, like the way you have you had Vision 2030 under the Ellen's administration. So you have the manifesto of the PAPD, which is the Propo government, the George Weah-led administration. And so we will talk more about that as well on the program. But let's take this. Today we're going to play it again from the president, encouraging you to go out and do your registration, the voter registration ongoing in the country. It is incumbent upon every one of us to continue to do this. Let us go out in our numbers. Let us do it because it is the only way we can have means to do what we want to do in terms of voting for whosoever we want to vote for come October of this year. Man, we don't have time. So we're taking this message now, and then we're going to be right back in a jiffy. We'll return, then we'll move ahead with some other issues. Echo. Go.
My name is George. Madam, President of the National Election Commission.
It's sounding very bad. to give you the legitimacy, one of which is to have a valid voting card that gives a clear picture that you are a Liberian. There are a few things that one will claim onto that shows one nationality, which is the voter card, the passport, the citizen ID card, and other documents of which. So we want to add our voice to many voices to encourage you Liberians to go out in your numbers, go and register. No one is saying that go register for John Brown or Peter Paul. Go and register so come October 10, you will go and vote for whosoever you want to vote for. You know, all the things that you do out there, you think that John Brown is the best person. I see why being in queue. Peter Paul is the best person. The only way you can have that right is to go and get your voting card. Be in the system. Be counted. So that tomorrow you can go and vote for Peter, Paul, Mary, John, whosoever you want to vote for. You don't want to be one of the persons that will sit and talk and that person has no right to make a decision. There are many things you will do with that card. So I want to encourage every one of you. And I think the good thing I'm told, I have not seen it, I have not tested it, that the National Elections Commission, the biometric, the system allows you any part of the world to register online. So maybe you don't want to go there. The world is getting more advanced, sophisticated in a way that people do these things. So I think some other people have they've tested it. It is workable. I have not done it. Yes, I think there have been some, little mistakes since the start. But also, it does not in any way mean that it won't be better. We hope the National Elections Commission can make it more better because we still have more time ahead of us as we all are encouraging you to go out and do the needful. I've been seeing on social media, let me talk about this a little bit before I move on. I've been seeing on social media, folks, Liberia. Liberia is an interesting country. I've seen posts from who be supporters of individuals wanting to contest. Now, we don't have any candidates. We have aspirants. We have people that have expressed their interest until they can be certificated and in a better word, being approved by the National Elections Commission. We still have them calling, they stay aspiring, they wanting to. So those who be supporters of individuals of such that have expressed interest in contesting in the October elections, I've seen on social media posts coming from some of them, and it centers around alleged trucking. I'm told or NTA bus was damaged. I think moving towards bombing or somewhere around that. And then I'm told somewhere around one of the districts in Montserrat. I don't know. I have done a lot of research. I'm yet to get it. I think I need to continue deepening my research in terms of is there any law that violates people from registering in some other areas? I don't want to say 100%, but I've not seen it. But I think even as much there's no law to say you should not leave from point A in which you are not a resident of. It should be fair enough. You don't need to go to areas that you know nothing of. And you go and decide the fate of other people that reside in that place because they go through what's happening to them. They know exactly what they want. They know what is better for them. So at the end of the day, if some of you leaving from point A, that is your residential place, that you know exactly who are those in that environment doing what they can do, and you go in another community to go decide the fate of that people for the next 6 years, it puts us in a point where all those of the people in that community or that district, you put them to a point where they might likely not receive development or the strong advocacy in which they might or will be electing their leaders for. I can remember, I won't call one of the lawmakers' names. He's a former senator of Mangibi County. And according to some of the residents, they said that senator, when he got elected, and said to the people of Mangibi that I bore your votes, so I'm not obligated to you. Listen, in these kinds of cases, you want to be honest to the point where you want to say, if John Brown says such, he has some level of right to say it because all those that voted for him knowingly, not unknowingly, but knowingly, he paid them to have done what they must have done. So those of you, the legitimate residents of the community or the district, might not be the ones that voted for him. But in a common saying, once the person, he or she wins the election, he becomes the representative or the senator, in extension, the president of everybody in the common library in the not one person. Right? So, you must say this, even though it doesn't sound well, but it's also something that, yes, you know, politicians will see it that way. So now it puts us in a point, you, the electorates, to say, even though such a mistake or some of the mistakes happened in the past, it is about time we correct the mistakes now. How do we correct the mistakes? We will not allow people to bring people here in a place. People will not be seen in buses, pickups, or whatsoever. They can know when your candidate will say no. And sometimes too, I think the selection process from the National Elections Commission should go by district and some level of a clear, what a better word I want to use, so that you can get a clear, direct, understanding as to whether those are the people in a particular district. Now, what do I mean? If you're residing in district number 8, I think the selection from the National Elections Commission should be people that are from district number 8 should serve within district number 8, so that most of the people that will come to register, the folks there might 99% identify them because they're in the district. They know most of the people in the district, if not 100%. I'm just giving Ole, maybe I know it is not workable now because the process is ongoing, but something that could just make sense, in upcoming activities. Because sometimes too, you want to get rid of this thing called voter trucking or whatsoever, where people, because most of the politicians, they're very skillful. John Brown knows of himself, he doesn't have the vote in district number whatsoever, but he brings people in, and sometimes it sounds very comical, and to a point, it hits your belly and you want to gush everything out. What's the possibility that all those of the people that you bring in to register in that district, they will vote for you? What that commitment that you're receiving, that all the people you take in there, they will vote for you. They will really go and vote for you. You know, it's looking like a business, right? You carry the people the first time, you get in a mile. Then the second time, and then we ourselves, Liberians, are our own problems, because when we allow the politicians to treat us in this manner and form, they classify and term us to be beggars and unserious people. Because someone bring $1,000. Out of that $1,000, look at you, a young man, they gave you $10. So if you calculate that $1,000, it will go across enough number of persons that will just go and sell that birthright. The way the people can say you sold your birthright, just to go and sell it for $10. So it means your own district, you cannot vote in your district any longer. You are going to vote in another district that you know nothing about. Even the person you're going to go vote for, you don't know him or you don't know her, but you're doing it because you've received just $10 or $20 or something, $30. I'm not too sure these guys can even get up to $50. So we want to encourage you, Liberians, desist. These things are happening most especially with the young people. You need to desist from this thing. Do not always allow people to use you and think that you can just be used at any point in time, right? So we're going to go to the international decks. We just thought to make that lay appeal and also make our own lay recommendation to the National Elections Commission if they see it necessary, maybe not this time, but in upcoming processes of the National Elections Commission. They can do that, and I think that will help a bit in this entire process. So we hope and pray Liberians will continue to do what they are to do in terms of going out, get yourself in the process, register so that you can be allowed to take the decision come October 10, 2023. We're in 2023, October, few months from now, the politicians, you will see them. The people that you not see for a long year, you will see them and everything. Road to the presidency. God. Someone said to me, they said, anyway, I should not say that. Okay, let's go to our international desk to talk to our international correspondents about what's happening around the world tonight. On the program, my name is Sekou Sharif. You're listening to the program Issues of Today on Voice of Liberia, 104.1. We're trying to go to Ghana to talk to our Ghanaian correspondent on the line so that he can fill us in with what's happening. So we're going to go to Ghana, Jonas Biarubi, who's going to fill us in with what's happening there. I'm told the that's the opposition National Democratic Congress says the consistent posture of President Akufo-Addo led administration blaming everything on COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war must stop. I like the way the opposition people can behave. They say, don't be saying anything and everything. So we're going to go on the line now to talk to our Ghanaian correspondent, Jonas Biarobi. Joins us tonight on the program. Jonas, good evening and thank you for joining us. Jonas, good evening. docket. So we need to look at this and try to reconnect with Jonas Biarubi, our Ghanaian correspondent. So I think Ghana had an election and Nigeria did. And you have a few other African countries that are to go to elections. I think the governor elections in Nigeria too as well ended. So we're going to go to talk to Jonas Biarubi, our Ghanaian correspondent. Jonas, good evening and thank you for joining us tonight from Ghana.
Good evening and thank you for having me, sir.
And it feels good to have you tonight. The opposition National Democratic Congress says the consistent posture of President Akufo-Addo-led administration blaming everything that is currently taking place in the country on COVID-19 and Russian Ukraine war must stop. What is the finance minister's, what is it that has caused them to say such?
Well, so it's very simple and also normal to always hear the opposition party criticize the party in government. Mostly they are always termed as the watchdog. They put the government on the feet. And so, so it's always clear that, like they stated, that President Akufo-Addo, for every problem and situation in the country where Ghanaians want to raise alarm or complain about, he and his government and appointees will always refer us to the COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war. So the opposition NDC is saying that, well, even for matters very clear that it is mismanagement and very clear for everyone to know that it has nothing to do with external factors, President would not openly accept the fact that they are doing something wrong or they are failing somewhere for people to offer solutions. And they always want to blame it to those external factors like the COVID and the Russia-Ukraine war. So the opposition is saying that it's about time they open up and be truthful to Ghanaians, so that at least people will bear and understand the real situation that they are in the country. So as whether it becomes serious or not, they can bear with the government. But if the government want to always deceive people and want to refer them to the Russia and Ukraine war as well as the COVID-19, then it means that they are not ready to accept responsibility and then drive the steer as they have already been given the mandate to do.
How did Ghana arrive to where she is in terms of all the difficulties in the economy and the living condition of the people in Ghana seem to be very difficult, and on a daily basis, looking at social media, other areas, people are complaining due to what's going on in Ghana?
It's a critical situation right now in Ghana, my country, Seku. Right now, as we sit down, almost everything, the inflation keeps rising, and then cost and of fuel also continue rising. So it becomes a very difficult situation for Ghanaians to bear because, it's not something that comes intermittently, but it comes consistently, overburdening their pockets. And worst of it right now is that this current president and the government has introduced a lot of taxes that are burdening people. And so for that matter, Ghanaians feel like, it was a deceit that they felt like President Akufo-Addo was the best person because he presented and posted himself as like a messiah to save the country. But of course, it's like now that he's on the seat, turns a deaf ear to almost everybody. There have been several protests by pensioners, those who are on pension. They have protested severally because government want to use their money for business. Government want to use their money to pay off loans, and they said no, they rely on this for their medications because they are old and they are aging. And so a lot of people in the country have come out to protest against the government, but it appears that President Akufo-Addo, this is his last term of contesting for presidency. Only God knows whether that's the reason why he do not want to listen to people and address the plight of Ghanaians.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonas Biarubi, for that information from Ghana. We'll go to the Gambia now to talk to Amadou Kante on the program. Politicians, governance, government, there are things in Africa, you see lots of things happening about it. So we're going to go to the Gambia now to talk to Amadou Kante on the program tonight. Amadou is Voice of Liberia correspondent in the Gambia. Gambia's former Auditor General has reacted to President Adama Barrow's recent claims that audit reports are just mere opinions by auditors. On the line is Amadou Kante. He joins us from Banjul. And I love you calling that name, Amadou. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Sekou, and thank you very much for having me on the line.
Thank you. Why is it the president of the Republic of the Gambia now is referring to audit report as mere opinions, saying this has exposed Barrow's general lack of knowledge about audit and other reports? That has been said by Gambia's former Auditor General. Amadou, tell us, apart from the former auditor, how did the citizens generally reacted to President's remarks?
Well, absolutely. I can tell you, Sekou, many of the Gambians are very much disappointed to the president's response to such a question. And I think this is why the former editor also, who have been heading most of the work that have been reported now, almost in, week out, in the newspapers, in radios. Corruption or alleged malpractices have been reported from the audit report that has been issued.
Oh, the guy. Okay, so I think this guy, let us reconnect with him. I think his system. So we're going to go back to the Gambia to reconnect with our Gambian correspondent. We just experienced okay. Amadou, continuing.
Yes, as I was saying, that many of the citizens have shown their disappointment rather to the president's message. So I think this is why the former Auditor General also had to come out and react to what the president has said, because he was heading most of the audits that were done and being reported now on the media. So generally the citizens are disappointed. The civil society also have been reacting equally, the political class. Most of the Gambians, I can tell, especially abroad on the social media, have also been reacting to the president. So it has been a general disappointment, and people are really surprised that the president can make such a remark.
Amadou, why do you think the president is not serious about the alleged corruption practices highlighted in the audit report, rather saying they are just mere opinions?
Well, I think that is what have really shocked many Gambians back home here. As the president, it was not long ago, one of his former permanent secretaries was, found guilty of corruption at the High Court and has been sentenced for 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to somewhat else. Let's go to Nigeria, where we're going to speak with Naomi Kombenda, where the Federation, that's the federal government of Nigeria, on today at the Federal High Court in Abuja, arranged Kaduna Bas Islam scholar Tuka Mohammed Mamu on a 10-count charge of terrorism in that country. Naomi Kombenda is Voice of Liberia correspondent. She joins us now on the program. Naomi, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Sekou, and thank you for having me.
By the way, Naomi, who is Mamu and what exactly is his offense?
Okay, Mamu is an aide to a popular Islamic cleric, Sheikh Gumi, and he is also a publisher of Sahara Horror, and he has also been very vocal in his ability to free people who have been kidnapped by bandits, especially those that were attacked by the train that was hijacked sometime last year. So the government says he's a Boko Haram and he's a terrorist negotiator and he's collecting money from victims of kidnappings for himself and his family. And this offense has been lingering for so long, and that led to his subsequent arrest.
Naomi, are there substantial proof that Mamu is a terrorist negotiator, or it is just another form of character assassination in the country?
Oh, well, according to the DSS, the search conducted on Mamu's house and office, military uniforms and boots were found in the house, military accessories were found in the house, debit cards from different banks across the world, huge sums of money in different currencies, and a whole lot of others. So those were the things they said were incriminating that they found in his possession. And he couldn't explain how those things came about, although he said the uniforms belonged to his cousin, who is the military personnel. But what about the debit cards, the huge sums of money in different currencies that were found in his house? So this, and among other things, were some of the things that made the military to see that he has incriminating elements and items in his house.
So what is the Nigerian government doing about Mahmoud's case as we speak?
Well, since 22nd of March, when Mahmoud was intercepted by Interpol in Egypt, in Cairo, and sent back to Nigeria, and the DSS took him since last year, he has been in the DSS custody. But today he was arraigned in court by the federal government, and then his lawyer came up applying for his bail. But the government, through his lawyer, said no, that he should stay back, that whatever ailment he has, that the DSS doctors can be able to treat him. And so he was sent back to remain in DSS custody until the determination of the court, whenever the court is adjourned to hear his case.
Thank you very much, Naomi Kumbenda, Voice of Liberia correspondent in Nigeria. We'll go to Tanzania to talk to our Tanzania correspondent tonight on the program to speak with him. We're getting a report from Tanzania that the government of Tanzania has decided to grant agricultural land to young people in order to attract many to enter the sector in order to expand Tanzania into a food warehouse in Africa. Let's go to our Tanzania correspondent on the line now to talk to him. Let's go to our Tanzania correspondent now to talk to him, to see as well we can speak to him on this development. Yes, we're trying to get him. So we're trying to see as well we can get our Tanzania correspondent on to talk to him on this development to know. And I think it's a very good initiative if to have. But let's hear how is it going to be possible? How they're going to do it? We're going to go and talk to our Tanzania correspondent. While we try to get him on the line, let's go to Lesotho to see we can talk to Poloko as well. Lesotho's government has committed to being bound by the provisions of 3 international labor organizations conventions in a bid to promote a decent work environment in that part of the world. So we're going to go to Poloko. Poloko is Voice of Liberia correspondent in Lesotho. We're going to talk to him more on this development tonight on the program. Poloko, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Sekou.
How is Lesotho tonight? I know it is somehow late evening or late night in Lesotho by now, right?
Yeah, it is close to 9 p.m.
Okay, Lesotho's government has committed to being bound by the provisions of 3 international labor organizations conventions in a bid to promote a decent work environment. First of all, Poloko, we want to know, how is the working environment like in Lesotho? Is it worse to bad or bad to worse or something else?
The working environment in Lesotho is not very conducive. What I can tell you is that, for instance, we have a lot of factories that are owned by the Asian countries or the Chinese, the Taiwans, and people from Malaysia. So they are currently ill-treating their workers. One, they are getting poor salaries, and the government is really not doing a lot because the government is scared that maybe the investors will run away. So the working conditions are really not good. And it is also the same case even in the government system, because it is not only the private sector where workers are suffering.
Who were the dignitaries of the government of Lesotho present during the signing of this commitment?
The person who was present was the director of International Labour Organization in the Southern African areas, which covers countries like Lesotho, South Africa, Eswatini, and some countries like Zimbabwe.
Do you think Lesotho government will really, respect its commitment on this process in which they've signed onto today?
It is really difficult to tell, but in my own view, I do not see that happen because, like I just mentioned, our government is really scared of maybe what you can say. It does not want to confront investors, especially the Chinese or the Asians, because it feels like maybe they might run away with their resources and leave Lesotho, because the factories are currently the largest employer of a lot of Basotho. Many people rely on factories in the country.
Thank you very much, Poloko, for joining us tonight on the program from Lesotho. Now we'll go to Tanzania, where we're going to talk to the man, Said Lumbano, who's going to tell us about this development where the government of Tanzania has decided to grant agricultural land to young people in order to attract many to enter the sector in order to expand Tanzania into a full warehouse in Africa. What's the news that it sounds good, but we want to know how it plays out and what has the government put in place in terms of having such. So we're going to go to Said Lumbabando, who's going to join us tonight from Tanzania on the program Issues of Today, right here on Voice of Liberia 104.1. My name is Sekou Sharif. We're going to go to him. Said has joined us. Said, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight from Tanzania on the program. Said, good evening.
Yes.
Good evening. You're live on the radio. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, evening. How about you, brother?
We're doing good. How is Tanzania tonight?
Very nice.
Okay, tell us about the government of Tanzania. I'm told they decided to grant agricultural land to young people in the country in order to attract many to enter the sector so as to expand Tanzania into a full warehouse in Africa. Can you tell us what should we know about this, BBT project?
Okay, this project, Building Better Tomorrow, aims to increase the participation of young people in the women agricultural businesses by providing them with the training, farmlands, capital, and connecting them with the market opportunities. And the project also already have more than 800 young people have met the criteria and been accepted by the Ministry of Agriculture to participate in the project. However, yesterday, President Samia Suluhu Hassan has officially launched this project, and she said that the aim is to strengthen the participation of young people and women in the agriculture sector, and to ensure that it's sustainable and improve people's lives. So this is all about this project, which is just introduced by the Ministry of Agriculture.
Saidu, but there are any studies that have been done to determine the benefits of the project for young people in Tanzania?
Of course. when I liaised to the Ministry of Agriculture, Hussein Bashi said that if the ministry conducted a study to find out why young people do not go to farm, they found out that they do not own land, but they do not have modern technology, and they are not sure of the market. So, according to their research, they realized that they need these issues in such a way that they can fulfill the agricultural issues, especially in business. Moreover, the ministers say that young people do not enter agriculture because they do not have land, they do not have loans, and they do not have good infrastructure. So what they did for the ministry is yet to prepare those infrastructures suitable and favorite to those young people and women,
But
so that they
Said, the lack of a direct law of agriculture in Tanzania, how much does it affect the development of agriculture in the country?
According to the agricultural laws, but also the ministry agreed that she said that it's true that our country there is no agricultural laws, but the process have already started to have an agricultural laws. However, he said there are other crops or crop laws which enable people to process the agricultural system. And also, he said that in the past years, many projects in the agriculture sector turned into white elephant. It means that unprofitable. So, and this because of the management challenge. So, for our country now, I mean, according to the ministry, that they're gonna prepare the laws to make sure that the agricultural system gonna be benefit, and not only in Tanzania but all over the world.
Thank you very much, Said, for joining us tonight. I know it's very late in Tanzania. You should be around moving towards 12. What's the time in Tanzania?
Here is 21 past 56.
6?
It is 21:56.
Oh, 21:56. Okay, that GMT time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Around 9 going to 10. Thank you. He's our our Tanzania correspondent. You know. Anyway, you have time differences and all of that, so that's how it is. Okay, folks. We want to 3 minutes to 7 o'clock. Something we want to say. Check it up. So it doesn't. We want to sincerely apologize. We were informed by our technicians. We were experiencing some technical problem, so we will not continue the show. We will have some adjustments. Our sincere apology. We're going to be back tomorrow. We got some technical, issues that our technicians are to work on, as to have us, crystal clear. We experienced some issue today. So they've been working on it. So they said, we don't want to be on the program. You have some interference and all of that. So our sincere apology for not continuing the show. We thought we would have continued the show, but we can't continue the show because of what we're experiencing. And on tomorrow, we'll be back here, inshallah, with the blessing of my parents. We will be back here with the program issues of today on Voice of Liberia. And we'll be having some interesting issues, by the way. My name is Sekou, and I'm Sekou Sharif. Do have yourself a God bless evening as our technicians continue to do the needful to have us much more better all the time.
Happy